to the show, everyone. Special edition RHMax channel show episode number 1 of the AMA open mic. I have dropped the StreamYard link. Oh, fingers crossed, fingers crossed. I have dropped the StreamYard link in the chat. So whoever wants to come on, again, if I don't know you and you don't normally have your camera on or anything, just turn it on. Or if I know you and you usually don't turn it on, then you don't have to, obviously. But that's, just to keep accountability and stuff. I just don't want anybody coming on trolling and things like that. I would prefer you don't show projects or NFT stuff, like all that. If I don't know you, all that stuff either. Not, again, this is the RHMax, so we try to talk about RH ecosystem type stuff. And then we'll go through, we'll stay on for at least a few minutes for guests. I don't know how many people we'll have. We got a couple already in the green room here. But if we have like a queue and a bunch of people, then, I'll just be like, hey, just like, I'll just be like, hey, and then we're going to rotate to the next few people like that. So, hopefully it's not awkward. I hope not to make that awkward. And then people who are here, who come to join, they can drop anytime they want. No minimum of staying on or anything. And like I said, we'll just rotate through. If we have some people in the queue, we'll just have like maybe every 15 minutes or so, we'll just rotate through. And that's what we'll do. So we got a couple people backstage already. Very exciting. Very exciting. Very exciting. Share the link. Share the link on the Twitters, on Telegram. Retweet us. Tag people who are on the stream. Let people know that some of your favorite people are on here, if that happens to be the case. And let's get started. Let's bring it in. Bullish, welcome to the show.
Hello, sir. What's going on?
Hey, man. It is, I think it's the first time you've been on the show, I think.
Yeah. It's actually the second, well, if you exclude Crypto in the Morning, pretty much my third appearance on the channel.
That's right. Yeah. I mean, we've been on Crypto in the Morning together. But
yeah, Crypto in the Morning and the Worst Damn Crypto Show, and this is essentially my third appearance.
Yeah, that's right. All right, man. I'm glad you refreshed my memory. It's been a while. Okay, because I see you on Telegram and stuff too, so and Twitter, of course. So I don't even think about it, but yeah, it's funny like how you have people, you see them in different contexts and different places, and you're like, oh yeah, I actually haven't like voice talked to them. Never met in real life, obviously, but like I haven't voice talked to them for a long time. So,
yeah.
Anyways,
well, pleasure to hear you,
man.
And thank you for the open invite.
Of course. Yeah, it's my first time doing this type of show, so we're gonna see how it goes. Also got Gifford about to take him in. I don't want to surprise him like I did you. I should have gave a little bit heads up. My bad. I say Gifford, and he turns around. Oh yeah, that's me. Yeah, okay, here, cool. Welcome to the show, Giff. How's it going?
What's going on, guys?
What's up?
We're just enjoying crypto in the evening here. It's just trademark. My bad. Crypto in the late afternoon.
You're good. It's CITM for the foreseeable future. Someone please go ahead and take that.
Okay. Okay. There you go. Yeah, man. I thought I didn't have any stream Wednesday, and it's Friday, and I'm like, hey, I probably won't do a weekend stream because I got a bunch of plans. So I thought I'd be like, open invite, AMA, like again, everybody in the chat, put your questions up, and the guests on here, we can talk about whatever y'all want to talk about as well. I got a few topics too, but yeah, we'll just I'll mention too. Got my RH Maximus shirt on, proud right here.
Very nice.
And
nice.
limited edition, absolutely free. You can get one by getting one from someone else because they were limited edition, baby, only in Vegas or our local meetups. So if you got an extra one, or if you come to a local meetup and I have an extra one, let me know ahead of time. If I have an extra one of your size, I can bring one. So rare, keeps you warm, keeps you fresh, keep you looking smart. There you go. I don't know what you guys want to talk about. I was going to talk about Richard on Ivan on Tech at some point. If that was a nothing burger or not, or if anything interesting. I think the only thing, OKX was confirmed now. Like he officially said it, right?
Yeah,
that was the thing. So that was something that I know people speculated on too. I think Dixon brought up a while back too. Some big Chinese exchange. I think a lot of us assumed OKX, but now he actually said it. It's funny when you're listening to it. It's like, okay, he says exchange, and then Ivan asks him again something, and he's like, oh yeah, OKX. I'm just going to drop it right here. Let's do it. Okay, so that happened. And then says ETH 2.0 instead of BSC won't cause a delay and may even be faster. I hope so. I certainly hope so. I don't know how a big architectural change like that wouldn't cause a delay or reallocation of resources, but I certainly hope so.
Logically, it makes sense. Given that's pretty much already built and audited, so from that aspect I can see it. But yeah, to your point, we know how the to some aspect how development works, and to make that kind of drastic switch, can potentially cause some delays.
Yeah, and it's not like we know, there's not like the roadmap we're going by anyways. So even if there was a delay or not, we would never really know unless it took another year or something, and then we'd be like, oh, that was the ETH 2.0 thing. That's what happened. That must have been what happened. Oh God, sorry. Everyone's panicking now. No, it's probably not going to be next December. Mid-May 2023, you never know. But I'm still hoping January. I'm still hoping early spring, somewhere through there. Nothing else. Yeah, what do you got, Giff? What do you think? We talked about this a little bit on 100% Uptime, but yeah, do you think big deal, nothing burger as far as it taking any longer for PulseChain? We know it's good. It's a good change, but although if you're a validator, maybe you're a little confused right now, or set up hardware and stuff for that. That's going to be interesting to work out. But yeah, what do you think about the change?
Well, for starters, I'm just super excited that I didn't bring a slideshow today. It feels nice not having to do a bunch of work before.
Requirements have been relaxed for non 100% uptime. Yes,
I feel so relaxed now. But no, I mean,
they were never required for that. By the way, he's awesome. He just does it. He just goes out of his way to do it. So.
Yeah, I just hold myself to that standard. But no, I mean, Alex, from Hedron, he had tweeted about it, probably expediting the process of, because the consensus code is going to be basically written and laid out, and they can go ahead and adopt any upgrades down the road that they choose to adopt. So, I mean, theoretically, yeah, I mean, that could be very bullish on, the time horizon. But beyond that, he did talk about the, delegating tokens and how that's just not a thing on the new code that's going to be forked over. So we were talking about it last time, and I was like, I don't think we know for sure that that's not going to be the case. But after hearing Richard talk about it, I think we could pretty much bet that, it's just going to be a completely different a beast that's going to take on the ETH 2.0 staking model as opposed to what they were building before.
As far as from like a validator standpoint, aside from given what he already confirmed today as far as like what they can potentially earn, there is a slight upgrade that they need to do to their hardware to fit the the new consensus model and the validator model, but it's not anything drastic to what anyone was running a validator now. But they do have to do some minor updates as far as like the hardware is concerned.
Yeah, because the way he said it on the interview was like, "Oh, sorry about your hardware and stuff." So that was he just being kind of like, was he just not? I don't know.
So I can give you some context. So if you go to what was already listed as the minimum and recommended requirements versus ETH 2.0, everything's now based off of ETH 2.0. So the requirements are a little bit higher. I believe you need a minimum of like about 1 terabyte. Minimum of 8 cores and like about 32 gigs of RAM. As far as like the minimum requirements versus prior to that would be like a like a A1 setup for like a validator on PulseChain pre-ETH 2.0 fork. So there's some slight changes, but it's nothing out of the ordinary.
So the minimum requirements for PulseChain were less than ETH 2.0 before.
Correct.
Right?
Correct.
That makes sense. Okay. All right. Well, maybe people who had pretty beefy setups will still maybe nothing will change for them except obviously new software. That's good. That's good to know. Let's welcome one more in. I'm gonna try to keep it to 3 at a time because I feel like conversation will just get like crazy if I get more than that. So we'll keep 3. You guys will be like group 1, and then if I have more people come in, we can rotate too. But welcome Sloth to the channel. Boom.
What's up? Glad to be back. How's it going? Giff, Bullish, Max.
What's
Good
up?
to see you guys.
What's up? I
You
kind of
too.
feel weird being up here. Can you pull me down, please? I don't know if you know this, but you can like actually click and drag and move them around.
Yeah. Can I? Okay. Yeah. Where do you want to be? You want to be down there?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
Better.
All right.
I'll
It's
be
the
the
crypto
bottom.
think tank.
I'll be the bottom B today amongst you men.
Okay. Well, actually, just aesthetics wise, you playing off my colors works well. and then these two just have random ass colors, so they kind of so there we go. I like it. You're just in time for a couple questions. Just what we're talking about. Let's see. RH says Bitcoin at 10 to 11K. Do you think it would fall that far, mark 15K? And I don't know. This whole time, I'll go first on this one. 11K in prayer. I mean, that's I don't know. I guess it's always hard to see it until it happens. But maybe we get one more catastrophic financial failure. Fed keeps raising rates. It doesn't seem to be having an effect so far, and they're going to keep doing it until something big happens. So I don't know. 11K just seems so low these days for Bitcoin. But I don't know. It doesn't take that much for it to, it wouldn't be all at once. It would be like, okay, oh no, Bitcoin went 17K and then 16 and a half. It'll probably stay 16 and a half for a while. And then 14. Oh my God, we hit 13. At that point, yeah, maybe there's a lot of capitulation. But I don't know. What do you guys think?
I have no idea. I have zero clue.
Are you not qualified to talk about this, Sloth?
Not even a little bit.
Remove from stream.
Yeah, I'm on the same boat. I usually try not to pay mind to that because I have no bags in it. So I know it's important for as far as like market sentiment, but when it happens, it happens, and then I'll take action for like my point of view.
Yeah, and it's like I'm just positioned just in case. Like I think it would be foolish not to hedge against like a Richard Hart call. Like if he's making some kind of call, it's probably a good idea to be positioned, your portfolio positioned in some way to take advantage of it if it comes true. Because typically when he makes a call, it's like it's highly probable that it follows through. But like he could be wrong too, and you wouldn't want to miss a bottom just because he was wrong. If you're trying to accumulate like Bitcoin and Ethereum. HEX is slightly different because it's slightly like decorrelated, not decorrelated, like kind of up in the air right now, but just be positioned for both scenarios.
Yeah, I just think that fall, I guess I'm less worried about. I mean, to Bullich's point too. I mean, who of us has a whole lot of Bitcoin these days? If you're in the RH ecosystem, but that it being important as the aspect of setting the tone for the entire market. If Bitcoin goes down that much, imagine what altcoins will do. All that kind of narrative. So, yeah. Wow. I don't know. Back to something Bullish does have bags on. Zen, what Zen for,
yeah, Bullish. What do you think, man? What do you think, Bullish?
All you.
Like my honest opinion, whoever's behind that is a genius, and hats off to you. Like seriously, like I'm not even hating. I do have a bot. I've been very transparent about it, but like the bot for me was more of not wanting to spend 6 hours in front of a computer, and also only clicking the button, air quotes, when gas was the cheapest. So my bot is optimized to only claim a wallet when gas is at a certain range. So essentially my bot works as a range order. So, I'm not putting massive economic energy. My bot is not even running anymore. All the chains have launched. I claimed for the majority long-term. I was, one of the ones who did not do one-day mints for the launch of ETH and missed out on those massive gains, which is fine. It was an experiment. I was going into it as an experiment from day one. So, yeah, and, between 100 and 300 plus days, I'll get my Zen and we'll see what happens.
Yep.
Since he added me on that too, taking FTX, but yeah, I mean, it's interesting.
Basically just stole money from FTX, right? Like just utilized them to pay their gas fees for them, right? That's my understanding.
It certainly seems like that was a feature. I'm sure that feature is not free. Yeah, that's a good point. I wonder FTX's reaction and how they're going to change. They may even design change for that.
Yeah, from a marketing standpoint, it definitely got their attention. So I'm sure.
Yeah.
Now Sam Bankman-Fried has heard of Zen now, probably.
Yeah, and from my perspective, even though he didn't pay for it, definitely overpaid for 100 million Zen because I got that with a handful of wallets.
Bullish over there laughing to the bank.
I'm just saying, like, if you got in really early and and minted long term, you could have accumulated that with a handful of wallets versus 81 ETH based on like what the article said.
Jeez, paid 81 ETH for that? Oh my god.
Like it wasn't his money, but still 81 ETH.
Yeah, 81
for only 100 million is like I think both sides lost at this point.
Yeah, it's a net loss.
Got a question for PulseX. Is OKX all right for U.S. citizens? Interesting question. A lot of those Chinese exchanges, you need a Chinese identification, like driver's license or something, or whatever crazy IDs they have over there these days. I don't know. Anybody know about that? Anybody use OKX before?
To be honest,
As-
the
as
first
a
time I
US.
heard of it today.
Yeah, no,
Oh.
they're one of the companies that are, the U.S. government's not super friendly with, so it's a little more difficult to get accounts through OKX if you're in the States.
Well, just Chinese platforms in general. I think I've either tried to, I've heard people trying to sign up, and you need like an ID card, like you need to prove like you are literally like a Chinese citizen in order to use the platform. So
It checks your VPN immediately and will redirect you away.
that too. It could, or it just says you do not have proper number. But interesting bypasses on that. Another thing that Ivan on Tech listened to, Ivan on Tech said he read Scivive, although he called it straight at first. I was like, throw back the straight, chat. I like that. Strawberry grape. But he called it straight, and then Richard corrected him to Scivive, and he said he liked it a lot. So anyone who hasn't read Scivive or listened to SJ's audiobook version, YouTube that, because it is fantastic. And Ivan on Tech, if you like him, he likes it. I didn't realize this has been like the third or fourth time they interviewed together. And I think the first one is funny. It showed up in the recommendations, and it was Richard with long hair and his usual that one shirt he used to wear all the time. And so 4 years ago, and then he cried on there the one time, which I'm not sure was the same one or not. I think it was a different one because that was right after the top, I guess. And then a year ago, he did one about PulseChain, funny enough. And then he just did one today. So yeah, cool for Ivan on Tech being super friendly to Richard and our community. I like that. And Scivive, that gives me a little bit of points for that. Let's see. I'm just scrolling through the chat for a minute, see if we have any other questions. And we got one waiting in the back. And since we only have one, I want to do like this. And unless anyone volunteers to drop, we can do a game. We can do like pick a number. I've already got a number, and whoever picks the number has to drop. Let's do that because you can do that with multiple people, right? SJ, I literally said her name and she appears. I literally just said I'm going to take flight Scivive, and they should watch SJ's audio version. Welcome. All right, I need to get this other person in. So everyone pick a number 1 to 10. Go as whenever you want to.
3.
So 4 for GIF. What? Oh, is that 3? Oh, 3 for Sloth. And then Bullish, what do you got? Bullish.
Zero.
Silence equals the right number. Bullish is
I think he
incapacitated.
dropped for 2 minutes.
You think he dropped for 2 minutes? Bullish, you got 20 seconds to pick a number that
5.
is.
There he is.
See, none of you got it, so I guess I go by the one that's closest. I guess.
Yeah.
Which would be Bullish. It was 8. So thank you, Bullish, for coming on. You can rotate. You can come back though. Like come back in like 15, 20 minutes. You can be the next
just leave me in the green room. I'm cool.
Cool. I'll do that. See you in a bit. Let's welcome Top Gun Hexadian. Oh, probably should have gave him a heads up there, but there you go. What's up, man?
Not too much. How's it going, guys?
We just
Doing great,
crypto.
man.
Good.
Right on. Yeah.
We're not talking about practice. We're talking about crypto.
Crypto.
Shout out to Allen Iverson on that one. Somebody said OKX not for Canada. I checked. Yeah, I'm telling you. I'm pretty sure. I would imagine they require a Chinese ID card. I think so because of course the government wants to track all the funds and all that stuff too, right? Yeah. What do you guys? What's any new? I guess we'll come back to Hexadian for a sec, but we got the two big brains for Hedron ecosystem up here. Anything new, GIF? Anything new, Sloth? What's going on there? We'll talk about that for a minute.
Yeah, sure. I'll let you go first, GIF. I'll follow.
I mean, the only new thing is that the hexmarket.com launched their new feature where you can create your own artwork and attach value to it via ERC20s or HSIs or whatever you want, really. So I thought that was pretty cool. I like what he's doing over there, and I just was doing a little bit of a deep dive on the Hedron staking that you can do on that platform. as we talked about last time, Max, you know, on 100% uptime, I'm kind of anticipating that we're going to see some HSIs going on market over there come November 13th, 14th, 15th, you know, and so on. And that may actually be a decently credible place to stake a little bit of Hedron. And the reason I say that is that's the only place I know of where you can stake Hedron and earn Hedron, more Hedron, right? If you're staking on the Icosa platform, you're earning Icosa, which is great. But if anybody wants to stake Hedron and earn more Hedron, that might be the place to be. And right now, I mean, you're really not going to be making any rewards. But if the traffic kicks up on that website, which I hope it does, it may be a good spot to park a little bit of Hedron. I don't know. What do you think? What do you think, Slot?
Well, actually, yeah, that's something I've been wanting to talk to you about because I listened to the stream and we talked a little bit about it behind the scenes, like in some DMs. But can you just walk me through the mechanism on like the progression of why you think more HSIs are going to end up on the secondary market?
Yeah. So, you know, for starters, we were talking about the Icosa ceiling, and we were looking in particular about those 2 days where it broke off from its ceiling price and traded below there, right, at a real discount. And that happened because of a shark. You know, somebody classified as a shark came in and was selling a bunch of selling a bunch of Icosa, and it broke the ceiling price. It kind of shocked a lot of people. I think the reason why it took a couple days to get bought up is a lot of people were just sitting back and watching and being like, all right, is this going to recover? Or is this the point where it stops trading at the ceiling price, right? So there was a couple days where that happened, and that was just shark status dumping. Now, when we get around to the auction day, I'm anticipating a lot of participation in those auctions. And there may be a lot of scenarios where a lot of people get HSIs on cheap, and their whole thought process is, you know, how can I capitalize on this HSI auction? Well, one way to do it would be to go in there and just try to get the best deal you can on a bunch of HSIs. And as you're winning these HSIs, you're selling them back to the Icosa contract for Icosa, and then swapping that on the market for USDC or dumping it on the market. And that could create an event where we also see the Icosa price drop down from the ceiling and trade a little bit below. Now, if that's the case, if it drops down to the ceiling, say it's dropped 50%, say it's trading around 50 cents, right? 50, 60 cents per Icosa. Wouldn't it be a great idea to take your HSI, if you're trying to flip it, take that HSI, knock 20% off of the inherent value in it, and then post it on an NFT market like Stake or hexmarket.com. And then you've got people looking, it's like, oh, wow, you can actually get an HSI cheaper than what it's worth. Like, that should be bought up right away. Now, the person selling, they were going to sell no matter what. And so they could either take a 50% haircut or they could take a 20% haircut, right? And that's just going to drive up some volume on that website, I foresee.
Okay, yeah, I see what you're saying. Basically, some people get a deal on the mintable Icosa from the HSIs relative to the dollar value of the Hedron that they use to obtain it. And then that's going to drive the Icosa price down to a place where it's people are no longer capitalizing on that opportunity because it's no longer really viable anymore. And so because of that, people are still going to try to flip them, but relative to what would have been the ceiling price, which is like the cost it would be to make the stake at the current HEX market value and T-share rate. And so if they can get a deal there, maybe they buy it at 60% off what the current price is to make that stake. Well, maybe they'll sell it for 80% instead because they're just trying to capture that 20% delta from where they obtained it from. But the other user on the secondary market is still getting a 20% deal. Is that kind of that's what I'm hearing?
Basically, they could just split the difference, right?
Gotcha. Yeah. So my opinion on that is I don't think we see many HSIs going for any deals like that, to be totally honest, because of exactly the thing that you like. The exact mechanism you outlined is exactly why people will continue to bid it up until they get to like 95% of that current market value, just because it is economically viable to do that. So like, especially if the Icosa price is at its ceiling, then I think all of them will be going at least for whatever that ceiling price is, at least until until the low liquidity nature of the Icosa pool breaks, just because people are a percentage of those people are selling it for Icosa. And then I still think it'll at least go to wherever Icosa drops, because there's still arbitrage opportunity there. But still, that whatever it costs to make a stake, that is still like the second ceiling on top of it. I still think it'll probably reach that. The wild card is just the first day, because there's so many HSIs. Like something's gonna slip through the cracks. There's gonna be chaos. Like that's like that's like the period where I think there's a high probability of obtaining good deals, where something like what you're talking about is most probable.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. No, that's absolutely right. And the mayhem is something that is hard to understate. Like,
I don't think
we can't overstate it enough. Like, the mayhem, when we had like 3 or 4 HSIs going at the same time, and they all got liquidated at the exact same time. So the timer, the 24-hour clock, was basically exact. And we're in there, and we're dealing with the 6-9 whale. Yeah. And we're dealing with the troller, the +1 Hedron on every bid, right? You're dealing with both of those guys at the same time. And not to mention, like, these block times are not super fast, right? Yep. Ethereum block times aren't super
13
fast.
13 seconds, right?
Yeah, I mean, yeah. But, it varies. And then what if your transaction fails, right?
Yep.
How much are you going to pay on gas? Are you going to tip to make sure it goes through?
Well,
what's the gas price is going to be on that day? And are you going to be able to quickly calculate that into what that value of that HSI is? And then do you have a spreadsheet ready to go where you can punch in all these numbers so that you know what the ceiling price is? And then how quickly can you jump from one stake to the next? Thank you. Good. I'm proud of you. How quickly can you jump from one HSI to the next, quickly plug in those numbers, and then decide, is that the right one, or is the next one the right one, or is the other 2,500 HSIs the right one? Yep. So, it's going to be mayhem, and there's no way we can overstate that enough. And there will be some flips, and there will be some deals. Absolutely. I guarantee you we'll see at least a large percentage of what I would say like 5% of all the HSIs go at the actual base rate, at the liquidation price. I bet you we see 5% go at that price. I was talking to Alex a little while ago about how long it's going to take for all these HSIs to come off the market. And his first initial guess was like 4 days. He's like, it's probably going to take like 4 days to get all these off the market. And I'm like, I'm guessing from the moment that you can liquidate these, I'm calling for, 28 hours. So you got the 24-hour window, and then 4 hours after the first one can be won, I think all the rest of them will be gone. Like, I don't think we can underestimate people's willingness to go on there and liquidate all these.
People will be. I think, because if I remember correctly, I think when Alex is updating the UI, he's going to have filtering options for like the HSIs. So one of them will probably be like unbid or like unstarted auctions. And I anticipate there are some people who are just going to be fat fingering that button as many times as possible, because you actually don't want to like wait 5-10 minutes and then start auctions. You want, as if you're trying to get like the base rate, you want to start as many as possible at the same time, so that they're all ending exactly at the same time, so that like there's a higher probability that one of them slips through. You don't want to be like slowly dripping them, because if you slowly drip them, then they slowly drip at that same rate when they end. So I just imagine like everybody, there's going to be a subset of people with a lot of Ethereum who are just going to be fat fingering it as much as they possibly can to try to get something through, which is essentially a free hex stake.
It's going to be wild. And today is, we're basically 30 days out. Like at 6 o'clock,
30-day birthday,
0 UTC, that is when the second payment has been missed, right?
Yep.
The second payment has been missed, 30 days out. RH, do we got any chat we need to jump to?
Yeah, we kind of took over there a little bit.
It's okay. No, I want to get to there's actually one question for Hexadian here, but I'll just wrap this up real quick because I had a question. So let's assume Poly launches before the mayhem. Do you think people could be competing? Like, how does the competition change for HSIs with Poly? What do you guys think?
I'll let Top Gun, if you want to take it.
Actually, I'm a little behind on Poly. I mean, I understand the Maximus contract completely, but I haven't had the time. I've been working 12-hour shifts, so I haven't been able to dive into Team, Poly, and Decky, and all the little branches that they did recently. I mean, I understood they were redoing the Maxi contract in different lengths, but yeah, I didn't get a chance to actually dive deep into Poly.
Smart, getting that money, putting in the bear market. I like it.
I think it's a net positive. Overall, I like when people look at something that's happening on like within our ecosystem, and then they think, how can I benefit people who may be at a disadvantage? In this case, it's people who have low economic energy, where the gas fees may eat into a large percentage of their profits and or make unstaking unviable. That's like the primary kind of problem that DipCatcher likes to solve with his staking pool, with his perpetuals, Maxi, and now with Poly. But I also like when people look at an ecosystem and see, how can I siphon off some kind of value and create a side play over here? Like, I like that kind of thinking, and I like when people do stuff like that. And so Poly is just one iteration of that, where you're just getting Hedron pulled in to participate in this game that we're all playing individually, but now you can play, a whole bunch of people play it as like a single entity, which I think is really fun and is going to be a fun not use case, but it's going to be a fun data point to see in the future as we continue to build and grow as an ecosystem as a whole.
Yeah, I think, what's interesting is I was on the Twitter Spaces with DipCatcher last night. I was just kind of listening in on their Twitter Space conversation, and the most interesting part that I am looking at right now is they were talking about worst case scenario is actually still a win on the Poly token, and what he meant by that was, if worst case scenario, something doesn't work out where the executor cannot find any good deals or does not win any HSIs, then the fallback method would be, we'll just stake all that Hedron in the staking pool. Now, I think that is actually really interesting, because at first I was like, oh man, you're going to miss out on these HSIs. Like, I don't know, man. Like, isn't that the whole point, to jump into the auction? But now, I mean, we're talking about a staking pool that has no maximum, right? So you could stake all that Hedron in there and leave it in there for 15 years. I'd be fascinated to see how that does over 15 years. Like, it's probably going to be great, because they're going to go into that pool and they're going to lock in that T-share rate of their points, right? On their share of the pool, their share of the pie is going to be locked in at that T-share rate. And it's not going anywhere for 15 years. So they may be the oldest staker in that pool at that point in time. And who knows how much yield they could pull in those 15 years. So I find that part the most fascinating part. The executor side of things is a little iffy for me. I talked about that enough last time. And also,
I'll give my opinion on that really quick.
Yeah, go ahead.
Because I know some people are kind of like, like I heard you talking about a Gifford, and people are like hesitant because it feels antithetical to crypto, like the ethos of crypto. I actually have the opposite opinion. I see things kind of on a sliding scale, where like there's like pure DeFi, like hexes, where it's like completely immutable, completely trustless. But I have no problem making trade-offs with centralization and trusting some other entity, as long as whatever payoff I'm getting is of sufficient value to justify it. I think I don't see trustlessness and decentralization as a binary principle to operate from. I see it as a scale.
No right or wrong, only trade-offs in the world.
That's interesting.
That's something I kind of go into. Well, I asked DipCatcher the other day, and I think I tagged at least GIF and GRFX in it, because what we're talking about 100% of the time. But I asked him on stream because he does streams like every day for coding the contract, and I asked him about the executor, and it was basically nothing solid yet. They're still trying to figure out what to do, but it'll either be coded in the contract or a selected group that I assume, I don't think they would talk about who it is, because targeting and security stuff and all that stuff, I imagine. But he did talk about it the other day, but I don't think it's final yet. I don't know. It's interesting.
My biggest question is, where's the gas fees coming from? Like,
does anybody know? I think it can come from anybody, and there'll be some kind of like. I asked DipCatcher this on the stream I did with him, and I don't remember the exact answer, but it's essentially anybody can contribute to the gas and staking gas fee, and I think there's going to be some kind of like reward or like incentivization to do that. But yeah, it's just
well, it makes
crowdsource.
sense for
Crowdsource.
the Hedron pool, because whoever has the most poly is going to be incentivized to pay, like run the contract and pay for that. What I'm talking about is the bidding. Like where does the ETH come from to get into the wallet to then make the bids on these HSIs? And when those HSIs need to be ended, like when they need to be ended, like is this all going to be just the top poly holders are just going to be donating their ETH, or are they going to be selling some of the Hedron that they pulled together to come up with the ETH? Or does that make sense, that question?
I think it's just crowdsourced. I think it's just people who want to. Oh, Golki's in here. Maybe he can answer that. But I think it's just crowdsourced, if I remember correctly. I don't know if the rules are exactly set out yet, though.
That's probably still something they're working on.
Yeah.
I will share the link just in case Goki wants to hop on in a bit too, because I would be fascinated to hear more about that from the devs. But I want to get this question. Let's see. One sec. Hop on, Goki.
Yeah. So nice hanging out with you again, Gif. It's been a while, man.
Dude, no doubt. I was just thinking about that. It's good to get the juices flowing again, right?
Got him under exclusive contract on the 100% Uptime show, and good luck.
School's been brutal lately, so it's nice to get back in some conversations.
Yeah, man. Feel you. I feel you. I've been having at the coding like 8 hours a day, so it's been. Aggressive.
Oh yeah. How's that? Interrupt us whenever you have the question, Max. But how's that been going, man? The coding.
It's been great. I'm kind of working on like just like third-party projects at the moment, like just all Python script at the moment, and I will be moving on to Solidity here shortly. I'm a little intimidated by Solidity the more I look into it, but I'm just going to tackle it, and we'll see.
Isn't all coding just if-then statements?
Oh, the looping. Well, yeah, the looping. Yeah, I mean, defining functions and then plugging more functions and other functions and then calling functions, and yeah, Max knows all about that.
Yeah, it's thankfully there's frameworks that can help make Solidity coding a lot easier, but yeah, I'll show my blog real quick. I literally wrote like, what is Ethereum, how to write a contract, how to deploy and test, and all that stuff, which has how to use OpenZeppelin, how to do all this stuff super easy through a web UI. So yeah, check out the blog on the 3 Ethereum posts, or at least the first 2 talk about how to do it, and the third one's about malicious smart contracts. But yeah, that would be enough to like get you started if you want to. I want to deploy Heartcoin on testnet, something like that. That can help you in that.
Yeah, absolutely. That's awesome. I'll look into that. And Dipcatcher's been using Anvil a lot, where you can basically code in Anvil just in straight Python, and then it'll just develop your kind of Web3 UI for you, which I think is pretty sweet.
I defer all recommendations to someone who's actually produced a product. Yes, if he says Anvil is the right way to go, I think mine was just for like testing. You can use a bunch of different frameworks you can use on the web, but to actually deploy the contract, Anvil, and then adds a bunch of dev tools to help. But anyways, Golkey said we may make a donation address for the gas. Executor will pay it. There you go. That's
there it is.
One way
that
to do
makes
it.
Sense.
All right. Third time I'm posting this, but Hexadian, we need a shuttle launch Moon Math Synth session. Hexadian, do you have any Moon Math? Anything you want to share? Any PulseX stuff, PulseChain otherwise?
Really, I operate best when I get asked questions. That gets me percolating and thinking, because I'm like, I assume I have no idea, and I'm like, oh, everybody knows this. And then it's always funny when I'm like, oh, they don't. Because I mean, I come in here and right now, all this talk, I'm like, oh,
boom.
All right, I'm just sitting here and learning.
Boom. Well, you got to unlearn right now. You got to do the opposite of learning. You got to teach. What do you think is possible price ceiling for Project like PLSX? There's your question.
Well, there's a question for me. So, really, with the buy and burn, as long as that protocol gets used, as long as PulseX, the DEX, gets traded on, there'll be an automated buyer. And as long as there's a buyer pushing the price up, there can't really be a ceiling. Now, I've thought about sentiment and psychology a little bit wise in this. And really, for what people got in at, when it hits 1 cent, when it hits $1, like these will be price points, I imagine, that would stand in someone's mind and go, you know what, this is when, and they'll start probably dumping. And I mean, I played around on my math model and showed what a 99.9% sell-off into the buy and burn will happen. So I mean, if all 17 trillion tokens outside the OA basically, except just a little sliver, sold into it and dumped into it, I mean, it would still buy up and recover. But when I do that math, I dump them all in one day in a year, and then the whole year compensates. So I mean, I haven't really looked at exactly how long people could take at that price point. So I mean, there'll be places where the price probably pauses for a lot of profit taking, but I mean, all again, there's an automated buyer in the system that will never be selling, and as long as that buyer is doing business, they have money to buy with. So you're basically betting on how long PulseX will last and how long it'll be buying. The price ceiling wouldn't exist until after PulseX stops getting used. Do you think it'll ever stop getting used?
A lot of buying and burning going on. I think if nothing else, to the end of time, the contract will just be using PulseX if everyone else abandons it. It'll just be like the 5 holders left, and they'll be like, "Oh, we're the richest people in the world."
Yeah.
It'll be talking about Hexading. He'll be number 2, number 3, maybe number 1. You never know.
I'll be working on it.
Did you sack millions of dollars for PulseX? Maybe.
Oh yeah, if I robbed a casino first.
Oh yeah.
I mean, did I go pretty heavy in for my financial status?
Yeah.
Yes, I did. For like all of my savings and holdings at the time, I probably dumped close to 20% into PulseX. I am a very poor pleb though, so I mean that makes it sound much more impressive.
Everyone's now Googling for Canadian bank robberies like 18 months ago.
I don't think a bank has ever been robbed in Canada, right?
Oh God, I
Good
was
point.
actually
Good point.
stuck. No. I mean, you'd want to think that, but I mean, we have a city, Sarnia and Windsor. They're pretty close to Detroit, actually, but not saying anything about Detroit per se.
Sure.
But yeah, I remember trying to go to the bank after work one time to go get some money so we could go get something to eat. And we get there just before the bank's closed, and then the bank ladies look all weird, like the doors are locked. And we're like, "What's going on?" And then SWAT shows up, and we had just missed the bank robbery and got trapped before the police showed up. So Canada's it's nice, but it's not perfect.
Yeah. I mean, funny enough. Okay, it is time. This is group 2, and that means that we have 2 people in the waiting room, which also means we're going to play pick the number game. All 3 of you. We'll do it twice because we have 2 people, so we have to rotate two of you. 2 of you have to go. 2 have to go. I don't know. What's the least awkward way of saying that? I don't know. I'm gonna have to work on this. We do show number 2.
How about I
goodbye for now, and then you can come back later.
You can come back.
I just popped in to show support for you. I didn't know you had so many people like lined up and ready to go. I'm like, oh, all right.
I had no one lined up except Sloth. He commented. I had no idea who's going to show up. So, and then Sloth doesn't show up half the time anyway. So I was like, I don't know. I'm just kidding.
Dude, you don't invite me half the time anyways. What are you talking about, dude? Get out of here with that.
Don't make personal attacks, Sloth. Not on stream.
You started it, dude. What are you talking about?
That's true.
You guys are the best.
We're getting a fight. I know who can fix my teeth.
We haven't had any good banter back and forth banter in a while, Max.
I know. I that's what I do. I don't invite Sloth very often, so like he gets all that pin up energy, and he's like, "You never invite me," and then we get in a really good conversation. So there we go. Hexadian, if you want to volunteer again, you can just drop, and then you can stay in the green room or disappear either way, and I can try to filter you back in. Up to you.
Green room sounds fine. Yeah, I'll hop out and I'll listen to the alpha that's going on from Gold Key, and yeah, this should be awesome. Thank you guys.
Boom. I'll hop you out. Thanks, man. I hope to see you back. Yeah.
Nice to meet you.
Yeah, nice to meet you, man.
So it's down to the duel. Now you got to pick number 1 to 10. If you pick the closest one to the wrong number, you get to go in the green room as well, or whatever you like to do. So, Gif, what do you got?
0.
3.
0, 3. Answer. The number's 2.
Oh,
everyone's doing math. They're like, actually, is that a tie? You know what? At first, I was like, that's a tie, isn't it?
Hey, come on, Max. Index 0 is technically the first integer, right?
I think it literally messed me up. That actually makes it worse when I know that. Yeah. So, Sloth, you have been demoted to the green room, but again, if you want to stick around for 15, 20 minutes, we'll get you back in. Up to you.
Take me off. I gotta go do something really quickly.
Boom.
But I'll stay in the back to come up later.
Sounds good, man. See you in a bit. All right, let's get Bullish back in and the Gold Key. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
What's up, guys? How's it going?
What's going on?
I like that shirt, man. I like
yeah,
that shirt.
I repped it for you, man. Thanks
Nice.
for the awesome
Appreciate it.
RH
Appreciate
swag.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I was trying to get you the other two. I was trying to get you the official one, but nobody
I
sends
got
me
that
an
one too.
address.
I snagged.
Oh,
that
you already
one too.
got it. Okay.
Yeah, man. Thank you
Okay.
so much. You literally the booth in Vegas, like you made our booth cool. So appreciate it, man. And handing out like hundreds of shirts to people. They were the hot topic at PulseCon. So shout out RHMax, man. That's awesome.
I couldn't do it without you guys giving me the space. And I got there and I was there so long, and you guys were going around and going upstairs and talking and stuff. And everyone's like, Maximus guy, I got a question for you. I know this much compared to the people who are running this booth. So I'll try, but yeah, I got a lot of questions, which was funny about Maximus.
That's awesome, man. I hopped on a little late, and I kind of talked, or like where you guys were talking about the Executor, but I didn't get to catch up on the previous conversation. But happy to answer any questions or share anything about Poly.
GIF, Bullish, frame it up. What are you guys interested?
Man, well, I'm definitely bullish on Poly, given my position in Hedron. So what made you guys decide like last minute to switch it up for the leftover Hedron to end up becoming a stake?
Yeah, so well, we were planning to it was more moving from like using the leftover from the HSI, like from the auctions and staking that. We kind of moved from that to making it more of just a prominent part of the overall strategy, just with how, because the feedback we were getting was like, I like, what's better, staking my Hedron or minting Poly? And now as like an introduction and bringing it as more of a focus, you can kind of have the best of both worlds now. So percentage wise, like there will be a set budget for auction as well as staking out the gate, and then once the like bid phase is over, the leftover Hedron is still going to be added to that stake. But by staking the Hedron before the auction, we'll be able to kind of tap the yield from the actual auction that's going on. So it's kind of like a self-pump-mental in a way, because we're going to be driving a lot of Hedron into this auction, and then also having a Hedron stake to kind of pump that as well. So it's kind of a cool play there.
And you guys are talking about ratios right now, right? Like, are we going to do like 50% goes into the staking, the other 50% will set aside for auctions, or where's that conversation going right now?
Yeah, it's everyone's got a different opinion, and it's just hard to calculate. I'm trying to figure out like really long term. Like I definitely have a much better understanding of HEX and what that looks like long term, as far as like the variables that go into determining like the daily T-share payout. Whereas with Hedron, it's a little harder to like know what that future yield is going to look like. And so, when you're trying to compare like what's best, I don't know. I think it's going to come down to like analyzing the HSIs up for auction, and then, kind of trying to fill a budget where we have enough buying power to get the ones we want, while still balancing the yield from the Hedron stake. So there's not really a right answer, but we're definitely in communication with the community and seeing what people want to do, because that's kind of what it's all about.
Yeah, and the sweet part is like, if you do set aside a large budget for those HSIs and you don't fill that budget, you can still add to the stake that you already started, right? So
exactly,
because I mean the minimum stake of 360 is nothing compared to your guys' timeline. So I think it'll work out either way. I like the way Dip Catcher was phrasing that last night. Makes sense.
There's
back to the point of the Executor. I did want to make it clear, the Executor doesn't have access to funds at all. There's no admin keys there. Really, it only has one sole function, which is basically push the bid button and execute on those bids. We were definitely looking at like a voting model, but it's just you know, with all these auctions going on at one time, the efficiency to like try to execute a strategy with a community voting system, it just really, like, we really were trying to push that. But basically what we're going to have is what we're calling like the recommendation box, which will allow people to submit their recommendations, their insights, their inputs on a strategy. This will be ongoing while the auction's going on. And, you know, that will go to the executor. And at the end of the day, the executor will execute on the best it can. But yeah, it's like, there's a lot of unknowns in this too, like how competitive these auctions are going to be. And then also trying to just calculate the correct value to try to, you know, because there's really only two risks here, right? Like overpaying for a stake or not winning a stake, right? And those are shared with everyone who's participating in these auctions. But good news with Poly is, like, again, the Hedron, like if we don't win, the Hedron will just be staked and it'll just grow the Hedron pool and increase that yield. So it's kind of a win-win, but there's still, you know, risk, if you would call it that.
I think from the very beginning, you already came out saying you're gonna have support for the forks, and shout out to like you and Dipcatcher for like from day one, from being like one of the first dApps to like have support for the forks on both, you know, ETH-W and ETH-F. So like, is the strategy slightly different for the forks, or is it pretty much the same thing?
You know, yeah, we can easily, you know, now that the forks already happened, we can easily just deploy to those. It's very easy to just redeploy the Poly contract on those other chains. As far as strategy goes, it's, you know, it's hard to say. Like, I don't know. I think because Hedron's, I don't know. I haven't really been watching those chains as far as like market activity overall. But again, it's like a lot of people got Hedron for free, and now you got another duplicate for free on these other chains, and it's like, I don't know, like buying HSIs with Hedron and staking Hedron is like the two best things you can do with it. And so might as well pop over if you got Hedron on those chains, like, you know, put it to work. But yeah, we'll definitely be launching there as well for people that want to use it over there.
I got a couple questions in the chat here. Gilkey, you know about HEX a little bit, don't you?
Yeah, a little bit.
That'd be appropriate to post a couple of these too while you're here. Thoughts on the possible outcomes on big payday on ETH, ETH-W, and ETH-F? Man, what do you all think?
I mean, it's going to have the same effects, right? Like the big payday stakes were obviously before the forks. So the inflation that they're going to be bringing when those stakes come out, it's the same cycle. What's the best site for looking at that? I can never remember that one.
Hexfire.
Yeah, Hexfire shows that. It's you know, it's really important. I don't think a lot of people look at that chart, but it's really important, especially when you're like looking to stake HEX, knowing when a lot of HEX is hitting the market, right? And timing your in stake around that. You know, a lot of stakes always end. I think, you know, from big payday, a lot of people just did like on a yearly basis. So you look at that chart, and around the end of the year is when a lot of HEX is hitting the market. So that HEX will be hitting the market on all chains. You know, will the activity on those chains, when, like, I don't know, maybe some of those people don't even participate in those stakes or on those chains, and so maybe those actually bleed out, whereas like maybe ETH POS has more people's focus that are like ending their stakes. So that might be net positive for yield on those chains. But yeah, it'll be interesting to watch.
Yeah, you were probably thinking of Hex.Vision, right? Like that was like one of the first sites that came up that where we could kind of see a chart of all those big stakes coming on. That was like the first time I ever got that fear of like, oh, look at this wave of HEX stakes coming out, and then you realize afterwards it's like, oh, they're just restaking them. Like, there's not really a whole lot of fear that should be there. But yeah, that side is awesome. I think it was Huddle Dog that was looking at that side a lot. And so I started checking that like religiously all the time. I did notice on the other chains that the HEX share rate is ratcheting up a little bit faster. And I think that's because people are just going over there with their big hex stakes and like ending them early and then, you know, selling them off, right, to try to extract some value. That's just my theory. I don't know what you guys think on that.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, that's really interesting because, you know, typically the share rate is really impacted most by like the biggest early stake, right? And so I don't know. That's really interesting. I haven't looked into that though. I will though.
For me, ignorance is bliss because I clearly have come into the community after you guys, so I'm not privy to all that stuff. So I'm just buying and staking and chilling. So for my part, I'm just like not too worried about that right now at this moment.
Stick and chill. Can't disagree with that strategy. I just wanted there's a couple of the questions here I want to get back to because I totally skipped a bunch in the last 20 minutes. Will bridged over hex reflect the dollar value of what it was on Ethereum? You want to take that?
Of what is on Ethereum? So I'm assuming he's talking. Yeah.
Just via arbitrage, like yeah. I mean, usually like that's why wrap Bitcoin like matches with real Bitcoin so closely is because if it doesn't, then there's an arbitrage opportunity to make it paired up at that same price. So yeah, if you bridge over hex onto any other network, I mean, we saw that with Poly, right? Like it got bridged over on Poly because it wasn't. There's no native hex on Poly, so all the hex you saw over there was bridged in hex, and it would trade at the same value. It basically had parity pretty quick.
That's something that's funny that Nomics does a really good job of too, is if you type in hex, it'll show you hex on all the chains it knows about, whether it has data or not. And it's funny enough, you'll see Poly and you click on it, it's the same. It's the same price because the bridged in value. So yeah, that's a fun little fact too. People were like, oh, hex on Ethereum and then hex on the forks. No, there's actually on Poly and other stuff too. Yeah. I had a question here from Bullish earlier. Yeah. Art said today the incentive token is not top of mind for him and does not really care. Thoughts?
I made a promise that if Richard Hart's not going to make the incentive token valuable, like I want to take that on as just a side project. And we have, you know, the Diamond Hands Club. We have the contract built to essentially create a game for like people are going to be earning this incentive token. So why not stake it? You know, determine a stake length for the incentive token, but essentially bring time locking. And how Diamond Hands works is it's basically just like you join at the start. If you remain staked towards the end, you can earn rewards, which comes from essentially like an early unlock penalty. And so it's like a very simple kind of staking mechanism. That's one option. But I also think like, I feel like the incentive token is going to be great for playing around with on PulseX as well. Like I feel like there's, you know, like imagine an incentive token pair that's incentivized and it's just like this crazy loop of earning incentives. So but it is interesting that I think it's just like Richard Hart of all the projects that he's launched and all the assets he's built, it's like, I think he's just saying he cares least about it because it's not as like, it doesn't have as much upside potential as the others. But what I think is really interesting with the incentive token and what we're seeing with a lot of tokens is like people love free tokens. It's crazy. And that's like what's driving what I think so much like interest on the incentive token is like, oh, I can earn this for free for staking my LP tokens. And it's like, yeah, you can. And it's just like driving a lot of interest. So kind of proves the point of like, you know, free token, the power of free tokens.
Well, that's what people love them. That's what I've been wondering for a long time is because, you know, a lot of people say incentive token, they're going to dump it immediately when they get it. And I'm just thinking that the system kind of breaks down, doesn't it? If it's not worth anything and nobody wants to hang on to it, then what are they incentivized to do? So there must be some game mechanics behind it to make sure they're properly incentivized with not a worthless token. Otherwise, like, why would they want it? So you all may be building on PulseChain to do some gamification around that, sounds like.
We could, yeah. I mean, it's definitely a possibility. I think one thing that's really interesting with this token, though, is like, you know, one core aspect of a token is distribution, right? And And when you look at something like the single-sided staking of PulseX, I look at that as like a great tool for projects to get distribution. Like if they get, you know, approved for the DAO, I think that's how it goes. If you get approved for the DAO and you can incentivize people to stake to earn your token. In my mind, it's like it kind of is that like the incentive token in a way is that it's like getting distribution. And then when you think about it, like who is that distributing to? It's getting distributed to people who love liquidity providing or are liquidity providing, right? So I think in itself, just being a token that's distributed to those people could make for a beautiful liquidity token, like simply being a PulseX pair token that people, you know, trade on. People might want to provide liquidity for that, because if people are earning the incentive token and they want to swap to Pulse, like that's just a lot of volume potentially to be making fees on.
Okay, so if nothing else, liquidity providing could be a way to at least give it some volume, give it some traction.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, I think Richard's picked his tickers as he says it, right? Like he's got his tickers, he's got his HEX, his PulseChain, and his PulseX. And I think that's what he wants to see pump. And I think he's
talked about Hedron and Maxi several times by name, so
which I love.
Secondary
tickers,
you know?
and even today, he spoke about them.
He did. So it's like I think he really does take the idea very seriously that like you don't want to divide too much attention to too many tickers. Like you're like kind of diluting your kind of name brand or your where people allocate funds, that sort of a thing. And I think that's why he talks about like Rube Goldberg machines, and he's not going to try to plan all this crazy game theory into it, because like he said, he's got his tickers. This is what he cares about. And so, yeah, I think that creates a great opportunity for guys like the Maximus team. And, you know, maybe we'll see new people too, right? Maybe we'll see new devs, up and coming devs, end up doing something as well. And I think this is all great. I think all these projects that are going to come over onto PulseChain, even the ones that are like most Hexkins would not like really promote or really want to talk about even. If they incentivize a lot of trading or a lot of activity on this chain, it is great for PulseX. Like this is all bullish, very bullish for PulseX, right? So I think we're going to see the narratives once PulseChain launches with these other tokens and these other projects are going to be fascinating afterwards, when we can actually pull real data and be like, yo, look at how many PulseX tokens were burned just because of this one protocol that was created. Right. Yeah. And now maybe we won't be so harsh on certain crews, you know, and maybe we'll just based on math and the way the system works, we'll be more inclusive because of that. You don't know, like who knows what's going to happen, but I'm interested.
Yeah.
It is time for. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say, yeah, it is a crazy. You know, we're not even PulseChain isn't even live yet, and you know, I think we're definitely going through like a transition phase. We've been going through it for, I don't know, like 6 months, right? Like since the first PulseChain project was announced, we've been going, like this whole community has definitely been going through a transition, and it's a rough transition, right? Like when you think of the first 2 years of HEX, it was like cutthroat. You don't talk about anything else. It's all HEX. And, you know, with Richard Hart announcing PulseChain, he was the one that kind of opened this door for us to like need to grow, and so it's like, you know, do I believe HEX is better than like pretty much all other projects? Absolutely. But yeah, at the same time, I understand the utility. Like we need activity on this chain. It is a balance. And yeah, I don't know. I totally feel for people that are trying to grow PulseChain, you know, the streamers that are kind of put in this hard spot where it's like, you know, you want to encourage this ecosystem, but at the same time, you don't want to get people wrecked, right? It's like a hard, I totally understand the difficulty of being in that position, and you have to have like really tough skin to do so. So yeah, I even have, you know, a challenging time. It's like you can't even really discuss stuff, because by discussing, you're bringing attention to things that might not be good for people. And you know, at the end of the day, you just I try not to tell people to do what they're like what to do with their money. I think that's the core piece of crypto is like self-sovereignty and people get to do what they want. But at the same time, there are core values that Richard Hart's taught me, that Hex has taught me, that I try to carry forward. And that also drives like what we do with Maximus too. Like all the core tenets that I truly believe and that I've learned, I try to bring to what we're doing. And so, yeah, it's hard. It's hard, but I think there's already a lot of energy in this community. So I think PulseChain is going to be really successful.
Well said, man.
Agreed.
Well said. I was going to say, let's see if Gifford can survive a third pick the number, but Bullish said he has to head out, so he saved you. He saved you.
Yeah, I have to head out. But before I drop down, I just want to add to what you were saying. I think, given what's been going on the past, couple of weeks, it's been a little, turbulent, but I think we need to, look on the other side of it and look at it as a onboarding opportunity. There's a lot of new people, whether we like it or not, who are coming into the crypto, eco space. And instead of being toxic and combative, we can use it as a positive and as a onboarding tool. I don't know if anyone's been paying attention to the chat. There's a gentleman in the chat that I've been going back and forth with, and he's talking about XRP. I don't know where he's coming from, but I'm just trying to onboard him. So we can do a lot of that in our community. We have a lot of big brains, a lot of talented people, a lot of people who understand the values and the morals about self-custody and your keys and true DeFi. And we can help a lot of people out, if we just try to be a little bit open-minded and forthcoming, instead of just automatically becoming toxic because someone's into XRP or SHIB or whatever token it is. So before I drop down, I just want to remind everyone that at the end of the day, we still need to focus on adoption. We need to be kind to one another, be respectful to one another. And at the end of the day, we're all just trying to win. It needs to be a win-win situation for everyone. And I truly, hope that, everyone accomplishes that. So with that said, I want to thank you, RHMax, Gifford, of course, Golkey, Sloth, and and everyone else in the chat. Thank you for having me on, and peace and love.
Yeah, man.
Take care, man.
Appreciate it. See you,
man. I also have to drop as well. My girlfriend's like, I got to jump in the shower to go to dinner. So appreciate
I will not hold you up for anything that has to do with showers or girlfit's man. I will not hold you up for that. That sounds good. I like that.
Yeah, man. But really, really appreciate it, man. And love what Bullish just said. It's an exciting time, and it like crypto in general is the wild, wild west, but like a new blockchain ecosystem developing out of a very strong community is the wild, wild west of the wild, wild west, right? Like it's and while I do think everyone needs to be respectful, I also do feel like the coliseum of good ideas right now is what is like the secret sauce of PulseChain. Like the bar that Hex is set is very high, and everything coming onto PulseChain is competing with that. That's just the reality of it. And if you're not meeting that standard, right, like you're, it's gonna be called out. It's gonna be, so if you're building stuff, like don't, just strive to meet it, right? Like, and I think if we all do that in a proper way, in a Socratic, where we're discussing ideas and not taking it personal and not attacking people, the best ideas will survive and we'll all win. So I really appreciate you having me up, man. And
of course,
Sloth, good to see you, man. Sorry I didn't get a chance to chat. Would love to chat soon.
It's weird you're leaving. Right when Sloth got on, you started leaving.
I know. It's all right. I'm sure our paths will cross at some point, Gold Key.
Yeah, brother.
I think me and you are overdue for a conversation at this point.
Absolutely, man. Let's stream soon.
Hell yeah.
All right, guys.
I'll see you later.
Take care.
Enjoy. Sounds like he has a wonderful evening planned. Don't we all wish that was the case on our Friday, because we're here, aren't we? No, I'm just kidding.
I survived again.
You survived, man. Like somebody, two people bowed out. So you're very surviving.
This is some bias from your surprise guest.
Oh yeah, I'm milking that train.
It's like, I'm like messaging him and
every time
I'm messaging him the numbers every time. Don't pick this number. Pick it farther away.
Every time I see 100% uptime surprise guest, I'm like, oh, cool, gifts going on. I'm excited to listen to him talk.
You know,
Well,
when you know, you know.
if it's a surprise guest and then Hedron, Icosa, but then it's like, yeah, it's good. But we're gonna surprise everyone with having you on for that sometime. Maybe. It's lost. Like, can I get invite, por favor? Yes, you can.
We'll start off with me, and then I'll just like go away, and then Sloth will come on immediately afterwards. We'll just trick everybody.
Oh, it's GIF. Oh, it's Sloth. No, they'll be like, oh, it's GIF. Oh, it's Sloth. I will actually tag everyone. I will tag everyone now. Yes, no, that's you both sharing the good word. It may be Sloth next time, because I told GIF he's been on 100% uptime so many times. I need to honor him with his own stream so people know his story and all that stuff. So that might fit in pretty well. We want to do in Blue Bum anyways, but yes. Anyways, questions. HEX staking 38%. How? Just explain how that works, please. Anybody want to take this?
Yeah, I can take it. So HEX inflates yearly at 3.69%. And every day, a certain percentage of that is paid out to people who are staked. And so it's a finite amount of HEX that's distributed to the stakers every single day. And so the amount that you get is relative to the number of people or the amount of HEX that's also staked. So the way it works out with as HEX inflates every single day, on average, if you have a stake length, that's the average stake length, you're earning 38% APY when you calculate how much you get relative to the principal that you put in. So long story short, 38% is really high. And the reason we can, that's sustainable is because it's paid out via inflation. It's new coins minted out of thin air, which means like there is no problem with sustainability. But if more people stake or more people stake longer, then that goes down. If people start exiting the pool and don't restake, then that will go up. So it's a dynamic APY relative to the number of people that are participating.
Boom. Yeah, there's been a lot of 38%, 25%, a lot of questions. And Jerry has asked me before, local HEX we do meetups and stuff. What would be good on stickers? What would you want to put? All this stuff. And I'm just like, I don't know. I feel awkward talking about it because it's really hard to gauge what is the right number for, everyone, right? 38% sounds good. 47% sounds good. 57% sounds good.
It's like a 7-year stake basically that you have to do to get 38%. And that's a long time. Like that's a long time for a new person who's just introduced to HEX. Right. Like, why would I lock up my coins for 7 years? Like, later on,
crazy
learn about it. Yeah, exactly. Once you learn about it, you're like, okay, I see what's going on here. Then it's like, oh yeah, okay, 5. But for a new person to get 38%, like that's a pretty big commitment.
Yeah, and it's more probably. I think most people, if they're going to walk up for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 years, what that's like, 10, 15, 20%, 25 at most, I would say, unless they're really going down the stretch for like 10-year stakes. So.
Yeah.
But you get a lot of, it's not just APY, you get the in-stake penalties, all that stuff too. That's a question too. Maybe not a lot of people they've heard of it. Maybe they're aware, but maybe they're not. But 10-year versus 15-year. Richard talked about this a little bit. I think the only benefit in 15-year is you're getting the extra in-stake penalties and you're holding on to the T-shares for 5 extra years. But you're not getting more T-shares between the 10 and 15, right? Like, is there anything different about it? Am I missing anything with that?
I mean, no, that's about right. I mean, the idea is that the main incentive from going from a 10-year to a Quattrocinco stake is going to be purely on preserving the T-share rate. Because like if you do a 10-year stake and then bump up to a Quattrocinco, you're adding an extra 33%. So 33% of your time that you're going to be staked up is going to have the better T-share rate, already locked in. So that's basically it. Plus, if you Quattrocinco it, then you might, if you ever have to sell to the Icosa contract, you get a little extra Icosa with it too.
So that's the extra point I was looking for there at their GIF. Yeah.
I mean, there's a reason why the average HSI is 13 plus years, right? I mean, that's insane. I mean, that's just an amazing. I'm not going to go down the whole Hedron thing again. I'm always just talking up Hedron, but I'm just saying, these products are really helping make HEX so much more rare. That locking in the T-share rates that we're seeing today for way down the road is going to be massive. It's going to be massive for a lot of people.
Yeah, it's putting it in the context of T-share preservation, and then understanding how fast that T-share rate can ratchet away from you, both in HEX terms and in dollar terms. Like 5 years is a long time to preserve today's 5 extra years is a long time to preserve today's extra T-share rates, because in 10 years, you're not going to be even to get close to what we're getting today, theoretically.
Yeah, wait till that average stake length is 10 years.
Yeah. I mean, like,
it seems like it's trending in the right direction right now.
As I've thought about HEX and spent more time with it, like, really, I don't want to be staking unless I'm doing 15-year stakes. Like the ideal like situation is to position yourself where you're only making 15-year stakes because you're maximizing the value of the system, right? If you're doing anything less than 15 years, you're leaving some money on the table. Now the trade-off for that is less time to realize those gains and that profit, which is like a personal decision to make. But I've been going about this where like I want to be able to be in a position where anytime I make a HEX stake, it's always a Quattro Cinco stake. And one important part of that is having a ladder set up first, right? Like me just saying the best way to participate is by staking 15 years every time. There are some assumptions there or presuppositions there that you're in a financial place where whatever money you're putting away, you don't need for 15 years. And so like you first have to position yourself to be able to do every single stake for 15 years. But that's kind of where I've been at with the HEX system lately.
So how do you reconcile with doing the 15 years, doing the HSIs? Again, you're removing the one key thing is you're removing the ability to save yourself from yourself because they're tradable, right? Like you're enabling a feature. But at the same time, like people coming in, the ones who do an HSI stakes, it's fair to say I think most of them won't hang on to them, or maybe they'll get them back later on or something. They'll be traded at some point. If they're Quattro Cinco ones. Do you think people will need to have, if they plan on cashing out HEX in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 years, somewhere before 15 years, do you think there's a HEX to be set aside to stake for that period, and then the HSIs are kind of these plays on maybe ARB with ICOSA, they're plays on just the HEX price in general. They're almost for trading, but like that's kind of the part that's a different part of the portfolio than what they want to save themselves to make sure they get the gains from.
Well, the way I would look at it is it's better than holding liquid. Have it in HSI. It's way better than holding liquid HEX. Yeah. And we're realizing especially with the pooling derivatives that have been created with Maxi and stuff, there's a lot of liquid HEX out there. There's a lot more than I think a lot of us anticipated. So here's the thing. I'm Mr. Staking Ladder for sure. I started my staking ladder 2 years ago, and it's amazing. And those are all native stakes. So if you're trying to create a staking ladder to protect yourself from yourself, then make sure you do your due diligence on setting up the proper hardware wallet, right? And you're creating that staking ladder with the native HEX stakes. Now, anything extra, if there's one thing that we really realized in this last bear market is that you have to take profits when everything is FOMOing. When people are just blindly FOMOing and buying tops every day, and we're seeing new all-time highs, like that's when you set yourself up for the next bear market. You have to protect your own self-interest in the next bear market because it will come. The bear markets always come, right? So having HSIs is way better holding HSIs than it is holding liquid HEX, right? Because when everyone's FOMOing, it will not be hard to sell those HSIs and take your profits. But the whole time that you're waiting till that FOMO stage starts, the whole time you're earning Hedron, you're earning yield in HEX, and you're still building your position. And who knows what the future holds, but now you're flexible. You have options.
Yeah. Actually, bring up that comment from Marco the Hexagon real quick. All new stakes, especially newcomers.
There we go.
Yeah, so he brings up a good point, and I'm actually going to argue against it a little bit. My actual recommendation, especially for a newcomer, is to get some native stakes first. I think when I think of HEX, I think of it as like a sandbox of like build your own financial what's the word? Build your own financial game. What's it called? Like build your own what's that saying? Build your own savings adventure. Build your own adventure. Build your own financial adventure kind of sandbox where there are a whole bunch of options for you to take advantage of. And, while I don't think saving yourself from yourself is the entire purpose of HEX, it's technically literally not the entire purpose of HEX, but it is a strong use case of HEX. And so having some HEX locked in hard to a single wallet that you don't have the option to trade or sell or anything like that, I think is immensely valuable from a psychological standpoint, because you're making a significant commitment to the system that you can't undo. And so for a very small percentage of your bag, maybe even some of those first stakes, I think I would actually recommend a native stake. Then after that, you start thinking about ladders. Those ladders can either be native stakes or HSIs. And then once you have that foundation set, that's when you start thinking like, okay, now we're doing all of them HSIs to get that extra functionality. But I don't think we should discount what value native stakes bring. It's like I was saying before, it's all a game of trade-offs. There is no better or worse. So what features are we getting through native stakes? What features are we getting through HSI stakes? And how do those best serve our financial goals, both in the short term, long term, and within the entire context of our portfolio and our financial trajectory over time?
I love HSIs, but actually I would say the most important thing to me about HEX, that, native stakes in general, is saving yourself from yourself. I mean, I just having looked at the liquid I've had and then the staked I've had and the temptation that it's been going through the market cycles and stuff, this last market cycle, I am extremely glad I've been staked with native stakes in that way, and that I couldn't trade it away. So I don't know. I think I'm not even sure I think it's one of those trade-off things. Like, I think that I think most people need native stakes that they can't trade to save themselves. And again, that's why I was so happy when Diamond Hands came in with the whole system there, because I was like, oh no, I love all the perpetuals, but now it's removing this thing that I love so much. So I don't know. I'm good. To me, it's the most important thing, other than, the API and keeping money safe and trustless and all that stuff, of course. But I don't think certainly not everyone needs it, and certainly it's not the most important feature to them. But to me, like, I'm so glad I've been staked. I'm so glad I've been staked for this long, because I count myself as a person with discipline in a lot of ways, but oh my gosh, when price go down, I'm like, nope, nothing I can do about it. Totally cool, but a smile on the face. Can't do anything about it. Can't trade those stakes.
And Mark, can you bring up that last thing Marco just said really quickly?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, here we go.
Yeah, I do agree. So, like, one of the big barriers to HEX staking is like, but it's locked. I can't get access to my funds. Liquidity is like the ultimate thing that you need in crypto or whatever. And like, yes, for those people, when you're onboarding already native crypto people into HEX, I think HSI is a great selling point too. So I agree with you there. And yeah, that whole conversation of like saving yourself from yourself, and like how big of a necessary quality that is of HEX is an interesting one to have, because it's definitely been a prevailing narrative for the majority of HEX. And now with things like Hedron and ICOSA, or not really Hedron and ICOSA, but HSI technology specifically, it challenges that a little bit.
Yeah, it's it's one of those things. It's I'm so glad it exists, because I have so many use cases, and of course I think it makes the well-oiled machine just like go to a different level. But yeah, I'm glad. I don't know. I like the native, and and there'll be plenty of people who never touch HSIs. It's going to be interesting to see the next few years. The people are like, HSIs, nope, don't want anything to do with them, and other people like, nope, all my stakes are HSIs. So that's cool. It's like,
that's perfectly fine.
I like that everyone has their own like niche, like they have their own thing they value in the community, and we're all using the same product, or maybe different products in the ecosystem, but we're all using the same thing at the fundamental layer. HEX. Question: bullish all my on buy Maxi before HEX. Why learn yield? Trying to formulate this question.
All of my buys are on Maxi.
All my buys are on Maxi before HEX. Why learn yield? Yeah. What do you think of that? What do you think about Maxi versus HEX these days?
Go ahead, yeah.
Like, is it? I guess that's one question too. Is it worth buying? Like, I guess why would you buy Maxi if you didn't get in the 1-for-1 trade, which was stupendous? But if you get in after that, what is the play on Maxi's value exactly for people who don't understand the difference between the two even?
Yeah,
I mean,
go ahead.
The play is essentially like, those represent Quattro Cinco stakes, right, in a HEX. So the incentive is if you're DCAing into say HEX, if you're buying small amounts of Maxi, you're basically getting a representation of a stake that's already been staked in the past. Like you're basically taking a time machine, right? And you've got that share rate from way back then. Not only that, but you don't have to worry about the gas fees when that big stake ends, right? The biggest whale in that ecosystem will more than likely pay the end stake function and pay the gas fees on that, right? So you don't have to worry about that. So it's a really easy method to DCA in just a little bit a week, a little bit at a time, build a bag of Maxi, because I think that's primarily the incentive, unless I'm missing something there.
Yeah.
Bullish corrected. He meant onboard. So all my onboards by Maxi before HEX.
Same reasons could apply. Yeah.
Yep. I think that's
Onboards.
that's a smart onboarding, not mechanism, but like pathway. Where it's like, hey, this coin, you're actually starting with like a derivative, which is actually a pretty simple derivative conceptually, like a group stake, and be like, hey, like this coin, like in the background is earning you yield, and then let's talk about what that yield is and why, all while you're earning it, and then like after that you start unpeeling the onion a little bit.
Is it so people? So the play on Maxi is if you think the value is going to go up, the premium now is going to be much higher in the future, right? That's the key play. Like that's why the entire reason you would buy Maxi over HEX is it's HEX, but with a premium and is undervalued right now, right?
Or that you just want to capture the yield at the end of the stake, like if
yeah, of course, or you want to wait 14 years for the yield.
Yeah, I mean, like it's
saving
like,
yourself
it's
from
like,
yourself. I think that'll be traded 1 billion times before the 14 years are up. But
more than likely, but also there's probably going to be a lot of missing Maxi over the course of 15 years. When it comes to redemption rate, do you think 100% of the Maxi is going to show up at the door and redeem? I don't think so.
Ooh,
I think it's going to be
that's a good point.
Probably in the 75% range. If I had to guess, if I had to make a bet.
Well, I asked Dipcatcher too. I said, what would happen if Maxi was burned by the mystery box or otherwise, or maybe via the deployer address or Hedron?
The deployer already did.
Yeah, that's what it was.
So that Maxi will not show up to the front door of the Maximus house and ask for its share of the pool, right? It won't show up. So everybody else's share just went up. It's just like what we talk about in the pools.
I think the tokens have to be burned. I think the tokens have to be burned in order for everybody else's yield to go up. Because if they still exist, like say you send them to some contract address, they still exist and are entitled to a certain percentage of the end stake. So like your yield doesn't go up. It's just like the total amount of sell pressure isn't as high. So the coins do have to be burned for you to capture some appreciation.
What? So, but when they go for redemption, what happens to the coins that aren't redeemed?
They sit there.
They sit there. Okay.
Yeah, they sit there forever.
Oh, that's sad.
Lock of supply. Yeah. Yeah. It's like
Maxi
it's like
V2, take the leftover coins and do what GIF was saying and make everyone's percentage go up. That's what we wanted to do. That's what we want.
I like that narrative way better. That was way more exciting, wasn't it?
Sorry to bust your bubble, buddy.
Come on.
Maximus guys have no shortage of motivation to make new coins. Maybe Maxi V2 will come out. It'll do the same thing or better. Will, by the way, I literally said this before. They're the only ones where I'm like, new tickers, cool. Let's do it. You guys are making cool stuff. New tickers, I don't have a problem with that for you guys. Will Watson see anything after Gox well unstaked? Not sure. Godwell unstaked.
Yeah, they'll get the duplicate of the bonus.
Yep, they'll get a 20% bonus, and then that's also distributed proportionally to every point that exists in the WhatsApp pool.
Yep.
There you go. Somebody said,
I would say you better be stacking your Whatsas, but you got to pay for that now. you got to pay like 2 to 3x the minting price now.
Or you got to show up to 100% uptime.
I've done that.
Or is that?
The richest guy here, Sloth, is taking free NFTs. You heard it.
You're saying the professional students, the richest one here, with two guys with grown-up jobs.
The smartest guy here in the digital industry is taking free NFTs. Yeah. What's your rebuttal on that statement? Yeah, there you go.
My rebuttal is thank you very much. Thank you for your service.
Well, if you're a guest on the show, you can't play though. So that's why I got to keep you closer. I got to keep you closer so you can't win all the NFTs. That's the strategy.
What's going to happen when these Wetzel's get art? How are you going to choose which ones to give away?
I know. I keep hearing the whispers. Oh, but they don't have art yet. I'm like, I you know what? They're not going to have art. Someone's not going to have art. I don't know. Game on has, but for perpetuals, is it possible to onboard now that number one period is started? To wait till the next one, right? Whichever one you want to join. You can't. I think it's like it's possible to get. It's possible to trade the HEX for the perpetuals now, but I think they've already been staked, and you got to wait till like what for the 1 year. You got to wait till 1 year, and then join the next pool, stuff like that, right?
Yep.
And then
but when base ends a year from when it started to mint, you'll be able to exchange HEX for base at whatever rate that's the redeemability rate is. You'll be able to get mint some base at that point too, every single time. So it's called a perpetual because it continues to restake for that period of time over and over and over.
Right. This is something too, not enough security in my opinion. That's something that kind of gets thrown around. It's like, hey, what are you concerned with new tokens? Well, you got to trust the contract, security, stuff like that. But nobody really elaborates on it. It's just kind of like security. And do you think that's because you're kind of just trusting the dev? Of course, we trust Maximus team and the audits more than some random token and stuff. But interesting. I mean, I hope this doesn't happen either. But it feels like there's enough contracts, enough stuff launching on Pulse. Things like that. I don't think it's going to happen to Hedron or Maximus ecosystem, but in general, we have 125 projects launching on Pulse. The likelihood of seeing some kind of minting attack or some sort of security issue in general, it's got to go up when you have all this code. We don't know much about the audits or not. It's going to happen eventually to some project just by the numbers. So I know we talk about security, my last concern is security, but I don't know. I mean, with Dodeca and all this stuff, we saw that it's just kind of like you are just sort of rolling the dice with some of these contracts. And again, Maximus, Hedron, I have full faith in their audits and devs and stuff like that. But the other ones, I don't know.
Well, I have a VPN, so I don't really worry about security too much. I'm pretty covered.
Just waiting for the VPN comment. Oh God! Everyone search for RHMax VPN if you want to hear me rant about how VPNs have their place. Just not everywhere. Gif, you have anything interesting to say on the question at hand?
Oh man, is it
Thanks,
okay? Not enough security in general, or how did you?
I think he's so I think the ideal is that it's not HEX. We're trusting another token. It could have security stuff.
Post the link in the chat real quick. SJ wants to join.
Oh, okay.
Sorry. Well, Gif answers.
Yeah. So I think it's just basically. I think it's a reasonable thing too of just being skeptical of new projects because security. We don't know how well it's been audited, stuff like that, and that's what scares people away from some of the newer projects, regardless if it has any merit or not. I think that was the point for this.
Yeah, I think in general, when new tokens come out, there's always gonna be a subset of people or a piece of everybody that feels a little bit of that FOMO and thinking you got to get in on day one. I think it's very important that everyone does their own due diligence on the levels that they can do them. Right? At this point, I have been going back in time and reading a bunch of code of different projects that have been put out in the past. And that helps me understand new projects the best, right? But that's not going to be the case for everybody. So everybody has to do their due diligence. Maybe you have somebody in the community that you go to. Maybe it's like a Feder or somebody else in the community that you like to go to and listen to their thoughts on new contracts as they come out and the way they read it. Or maybe it's RHMax, right? And you kind of need to latch on to certain people or a group of people and kind of hear them out before you FOMO into new tokens when they first launch. I think that's the key. I can't tell you how many onboards I've had that just call me every time they hear of a new token or a new chain somewhere. And they're like, hey, have you heard about this chain? Or have you heard about that token? And I'm like, bro, if I haven't heard about it, then I probably wouldn't assume that it's anything mainstream and that you should be worried about right this second. That, you know, just kind of take your time.
But you got to get in before it's mainstream to get those mad gains, bro.
I mean, everybody's got at least 6 months. I mean, on any project that launches. If you're in the first 6 months, you're good.
Are we so far down like the crypto corners, the alley of like, if you know about HEX, you know about PulseChain and stuff, you're like so far down that it's not like, you know, some new coin like, you know, Solana or something like that. Something comes out, the mainstream media is aware of it, blah, blah, blah. But since we're so far down, you know, you can't really wait on that social consensus I don't know where I was going to had a point, but I can't remember what it was. Anyways, White dude with glasses says, burning just means more volatility. I think we were talking about it during the Maxi conversation. Is there anything to that?
I mean,
like burning Maxi.
If you're assuming that the circulating supply is what's going down and low circulating supply equals more volatility. I mean, yeah. I mean, just about any reasonable person could assume that. That's not usually what everybody should jump to as the number one cause that happens when something gets burnt. You know, like you look at something like Hedron where you got 100 trillion supply and you get like 4 trillion burn out. Did it make it more volatile? I don't think so. I think from the beginning, it's actually more stabilized now than it was at the beginning. And so like you gotta take it with a grain of salt every time something like this happens. And yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like it's hard to say. But with that, I'm getting buzzed up. It's time to go to the corn maze. So I got a jet.
Awesome. Cool, man. We're probably going to stay for a couple more minutes, see if SJ comes, and if not, we'll call it a night. But GIF, it's been a pleasure, sir. You are the
always
last
a pleasure
man standing for the number game. You're the champion as usual. You may be replaced 100% uptime for no fault of your own, just because Sloth wants to talk to me sometimes.
You can't be the GOAT forever. Sloth, great talking to you. Let's make this happen more often. All right, buddy?
Absolutely. You still have an appearance overdue on my channel. That's been my fault, but it's going to happen.
I hear you, buddy. All right. Later, guys.
All right. See you, Giff. Have fun. And then there was 2. What's up, man?
What's up, Max?
I don't think I think SJ jumped off. I don't think she's going to come on. So we'll just maybe take a couple other questions.
Yeah.
Doing good, though. Doing good. Just sporting this. Apparently that's cool again. It's cool because Richard said he only follows these guys. So I was like, yep. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Gonna wear this today.
The guy, his name is literally Richard Hart Maxi.
My name is Max.
Wait, does he actually follow you?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
He'll never follow me.
Well, I don't know. I mean, he's pretty friendly to Hedron. So
he's not gonna follow the guy with the paid group.
he doesn't. It's having listened to everything. It's funny. I'm like rewinding about all the paid group talk, and he's been like, sometimes when he's really ranting on somebody, he'd be like, "And you guys follow the people with paid groups," and then sometimes he's like, "Yeah, I don't see anything wrong with making money for your skills." So like he's went back.
Which is it?
Yeah. Whatever, you know. Which one is it? Whichever one gets more points that day for whoever audience he's talking to. He's very good at the marketing. Very good at marketing. To his credit.
Yep.
Let's see. Just scrolling for a minute. It's been great. I had I didn't know who's going to show up. Apparently all streamers. I thought I'd have somebody in the chat show up.
Told you I'd show up. I didn't bail on you this time, Max.
Appreciate it. You have you ever bailed? I feel like
one time.
I think I was joking. One time. One time.
I was like, yeah, I'll come, and then something happened. I couldn't come.
I totally forgot about it. You could have been like, no, I never bailed. I'm like, yeah, I don't think so. Frosty Dog. I got a night, Frosty Dog, real quick. Don't screw me over, Frosty Dog. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh,
you've been great.
And at some point, I'd like to have a conversation with you too, Marco. I've been listening to you for a long time, so I think that'd be fun at some point. Trying to make the rounds of all the hexagons I like to listen to.
You say Orca?
Marco.
Oh, Marco. Yeah. I haven't talked to Marco either.
His videos on Twitter have been pretty funny lately. They make me laugh.
Nice. Yeah, SJ's here. Oh my God, she's wearing the shirt too.
Welcome
to the stream.
That's part of the reason why I was like, I have to show off my apparel.
Yeah, there you go. Nice. Yeah, you've been driving, right?
Yeah, I'm just I'm in Austin, but I'm just scooting around. I went to the dentist today in San Antonio. So
I have one that you should never go to. The guy in the right corner, he is not qualified. I don't care. If he tells you he's a doctor, do not listen. Do not.
Heard.
Not yet. He's still.
I can help you out. I just need an actual dentist to supervise me, and then you know I got you, SJ. If you
Well,
want
that's
that,
exactly.
if you want that,
Actually, I went to a dental school.
oh yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Thank you for helping us out.
Hey, I love doing that kind of stuff. Most of the time I get my hair done at a beauty school. I like going to dental schools. In fact, when I went today, there was a woman sitting next to me in the waiting room, and I overheard her say that she had been a dental hygienist for years, and she retired. And she's like, I only come here to get my dental work done to the school.
Well, that's really kind of you guys. We students appreciate it a lot because you know it's a lot cheaper the dental school rates, but like you don't pay with your money, you pay with your time because of all like the bureaucracy and like we're slower and stuff. So you know, especially when we have people who are like happy and excited to be there, like you, like it really helps us out a lot. We appreciate it. So, but thank you from the Texas dental students from me.
Oh, you are so welcome. Yeah, what a trip. That's quite the coincidence.
Yeah. SJ, I don't know if you saw Richard's interview today with Ivan on Tech, but he gave a shout out to Scivive. Ivan's like, I read Scivive and I like it. And Richard mentioned the things too. He mentioned the audiobook.
Yeah.
Too.
He sure did. Yeah. He's always pretty much just Google, Google YouTube Scivive audio. It'll come up. Which I don't mind. It's his book. Like,
have you seen a lot more traffic to the video since he's been mentioning it, like all his interviews?
You know, it's interesting. He actually didn't mention this time the Scivive channel, or he didn't get a chance to. But there was one interview he did recently where he mentioned the Scivive Telegram, and I think there were something like 500 people, 400 to 500 people joined the Scivive chat that day. Yeah. So there's that. There's definitely been, I don't honestly, like I haven't been paying much attention to analytics. I probably should check it out. But yeah, it's a pretty steady flow of people that are listening to the book, which is awesome.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was, it's kind of, for me, it's hard to hear him when he like specifically said, he's like, yeah, it's like the book is done, or he said it's finished or something like that. I was like, but it's kind of not. Because we're working on it. Yeah, it is. Like you can
SJ
read it.
would know. SJ would know if it's finished or not. Yeah, it's there's struggle is real, but it's slowly but surely. Do you think? I just want to ask about the Scivive Shorts, the everyday stuff too. I know I'm glad a lot of people have been participating in that. That's awesome. Have you seen it like have an effect as far as more people in the Telegram, or just like kind of going viral with some of them? Like what are some of the I guess maybe talk about that a little bit. Like why, how'd you come up with that, and like what effect has it had on like Scivive and the community?
Sure, thanks. It's an awesome question. So, I wanted to focus on something that I already, I do this content in terms of Scivive and reading the book and all that, and I think I was looking at YouTube Shorts. I think that's what it was. I was trying to like do a little bit more with YouTube Shorts, and then I realized that doing a quote a day would be kind of a good way to do that. Something like more content to provide. So it just kind of started that way. At first, I was just going to do 365 days, and then I realized, well, why not? Add a few more and make it the 369 that we all know and love. So yeah, decided to do that instead, and the part about having other people do it, that came about during in Vegas for the Pulse conference party get together. I knew I was going to run into some people, and I was like, it'd be really fun to have others who I know are into Scivive or love Richard and his work, have them participate in this. And I'm so glad that I did that. To be honest with y'all, because it's also time consuming. I mean, aside from just, doing the editing and the narrating and, everything else I'm working on, it takes time to record and then to edit those and put them up on each social media channel. So to be able to have anyone who's watching, all y'all, if you would love to do a Scivive quote, or you think it's something you could spend some time doing, please do, because it helps me out a lot. And I still want to do like intermittently, like I'll be doing mine in there as well. But it's been really awesome to see the feedback from that, and the people like, because I'm not just getting people that want to do them. It's interesting that more people are saying, hey, I love what you're doing. Like it's super awesome to see this content. So that's been nice as well.
it motivated me to start doing some of the quotes and shorts on my channel too. I'm like, oh yeah, I should
I
just
just saw that.
Yeah, do some like Naval
Nothing-
quotes or just like things that are on my mind. I'm just like, yeah, don't have coffee until 1 to 2 hours before you wake up because you're going to get a much better high because your whatever levels. I forget the whole explanation. Somebody's like, yeah, how do you know references? I'm like, oh my god, can I just do a short without somebody like asking me for data about it? Can you just okay? You don't have to do it. Have coffee as soon as you wake up. I don't care. Just do it.
Well, I'll tell you, Max. Nothing makes me happier than to see your face blow up in my screen when I'm scrolling through YouTube Shorts. Man, it makes my day.
You know. It's kind of a cheat code. It's kind of because you're not competing with all the videos. You're just competing with the shorts, and especially the shorts of the subscribers. So yes, you're welcome, Sloth. Where's your? By the way, you owe her a video. When are you gonna do a quote, man? You're a Scivive, right?
Yeah. Actually, I haven't read it yet. I need to read it at some point. But
Sloth, you're making me look bad here. I just told her you was a Scivive.
Maybe you should do your own research. Trust and verify. Don't. What's the word? Whatever. Do your research. Man.
Don't verify.
Trust, don't verify. Yes. Just
that's
trust.
My next short.
That's what I do.
That's my next short right there. Trust. Don't verify.
Like that's not it. Trust but verify. Max.
Tomorrow, look for it in your feed. Tomorrow, the short's going to be there.
Awesome.
Everyone's going to be like, cool. 3-word short. Cool. No subtitles, no pausing, no transition like SJ does. Just 3 words. I had maybe
that's
one
super
more
cool
question.
to hear that.
Yeah, I just had one more question here I want to get through before we head off. Let's see. I swear there was one. I mean, there's a couple, but I'm only going to pick one because I saw it. Wouldn't there be an incentive to capitalize on compromised wallets that still hold HEX stakes under 30% maturity, but aren't worth the gas fee to nuke? Sounds like a Sloth question right there.
Incentive to capitalize on compromised wallets. So like wallets that have been hacked, that still hold HEX stakes. So they have HEX stakes under the average APY, but not worth the gas fee to nuke. Yeah, I guess you could you just release the seed phrases of them and then let the community take them at some point. It's easier if they're HSIs because you could do ICOSA, sell them for ICOSA or whatever. But also the hacker could do that too. So these would be native stakes. They would have to be native stakes. So if not, the hacker would just get it. I don't see anything right now, but that's something to think about.
Yeah, that's yeah. I hope people are taking care of their seed phrases and stuff. It sucks to see people oh, my wallet got attacked and they just killed all my stakes. I'm like, no, financial freedom. It just breaks my heart. It really does. It sucks.
Yeah.
Wells L. Jackson. I don't know what that's in reference to, but I like it. Cool. All right, that's the last one to take. SJ, thank you for hopping on. Good to see you. Good to see you.
Good to see you, SJ.
Good to see limited edition shirts.
Yeah.
You cannot buy these anywhere.
Right.
They're not for sale. You can only get them from someone else who apparently you did a really good favor for. They just love you. So maybe I want to see the Christmas gifts. Anyone get an extra T-shirt from the booth? They give them away for Christmas. I want to see those. Tag me on Twitter if you give anyone a shirt for Christmas. I think that'd be really special. So everyone's like, I ain't get my shirt away. No, I ain't making no more of these. Limited edition NFT. RHMax. It's not even RHMax shirts. It's just Richard R. Maximus shirts. They have nothing to do with me.
I pay for a JPEG.
It's total coincidence. Yeah, I nuked Sloth's wallet to pay for all those shirts. By the way, just, I thought it was the right thing to do.
You got a whole $20, dude. Congrats.
Who did I steal these T-shirts from? They definitely cost more than $20. Yes. Thank you, chat. You were amazing. This is a great show. I think I may do this again. The AMA plus open mic had a lot of people show up. Yeah, thanks for everyone showed up before. Thank you, especially thank you to Sloth and SJ for staying on till the end.
Yeah. Hey, thank you for your content, Max. You're rocking it. Love it.
Yeah, congrats to you, man. You've been slowly climbing the subscriber count numbers, and your work's paying off, and you definitely deserve it, man. Congratulations.
My name is Slow. I do not monetize. I don't do all the clickbait. I only the thumbnails. I want you to click on a video and be like, yeah, that's exactly what I paid for. Nothing. Exactly. That's what I paid for. So yes, it's slowly but surely, but it is nice to get the recognition. So I appreciate that.
Doing a great job.
Thank you. Last words, Sloth, SJ. What you guys got anything before we go?
Follow this guy on Twitter if you don't already. Both of these guys. Follow these dudes on the Twittergrams.
Yeah.
Shill your things. That's
Shill
it.
the things, Sloth.
Yeah.
Shill the things, SJ.
Yeah. You like You like Hedron, you like Icosa, that's what I've been talking about lately. Crypto Sloth here on YouTube, Sloth Crypto 3 on Twitter. I do consults, and I'm part of a paid group with Access Alive and Silver the Antidote. Yeah, no monetization for you, but you said to show my stuff, man.
Showing it to the max.
Details are on my channel. If you're interested, just hit me up.
Well, you said got the paid group, and I thought it was gonna be a joke. That's why I laughed. I was like, "Oh, it's actually like."
No, I actually have a paid
my
group.
bad. My bad. That was an inappropriate laugh. My fault. My fault.
No, you're good, man.
Bob said, "Sorry, Sloth. A grown-up rent studio now, so I gotta go." So funny. SJ, where can people find all your stuff?
This handle right here, everywhere.
Mhm.
YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter. Yeah, those 4. I'm
Those
at a
4.
Wild SJ, all there. Yeah, and you can listen to Richard Hart's book, Scivive, and his other book called 15 Ways to Fix the World. Both of those are read by myself on my channel.
Beautifully read.
Yeah, check it out. And you can also, Max, what's the link, or maybe post the link to the MP3 version you have? It's an MP3 version, right?
Yeah, it's
pretty great. If you can't listen to
GitLab.
YouTube for whatever reason, Max converted it.
Literally, if you Google for GitLab Scivive, it comes up.
Oh,
That's
nice.
Cool.
Perfect.
Yeah,
There you
but
go.
I'll post it here.
There you
go. Yeah, I converted the MP3. So yeah, if anyone wants to load them up on whatever they have and they don't need video, they're on there. I don't have Fix the World yet. I got to do that one, but I did the blog for Fix the World. I just haven't got a chance to MP3 Fix the World.
It is on Spotify. Fix the World is actually on Spotify.
Okay, good.
As well. Yeah.
Awesome. At Sloth Crypto 3 at a Wild SJ. They're on the YouTube. They're on Sloth. You on TikTok? You on OnlyFans? What are you on?
Yes, that was
yes to the second one.
Yes, OnlyFans details coming, guys.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, follow me at RHMaximus, just the way it sounds, for some content around RHMax products RH products and ecosystem type stuff, pretty much mostly. And I got a blog. I got all the stuff. Go to my channel. You can see all the info. Follow us. Smash the buttons. Like, subscribe. And we are out.